Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And welcome back, everybody. I don't have to tell you that your health is so important. No amount of money can change things, when you come up with some major health issues. Why even get there in the first place? And one of the things we overlook is the health of our stomachs, our gut health. It's been said before that your stomach has almost like another brain that communicates with your main brain. So much is going on down there. How do we take care of that? We are going to talk to somebody who helps people make transformations all the time. She has a wonderful coaching service, individually tailored to the person that she works with. And that goes from mental, mindset, breaking habits, changing routines, and also changing your nutrition situation. Coach Jay is back with us on the program. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Steve. Thanks for having me back.
Important stuff we're talking about today. I try to enforce how really important gut health is, but why don't you take the ball and run from this point on?
Sure. Well, our gut is made up of trillions of bacteria, fungi, and other microbes, and it's so important in digestion, immunity, even our mood regulation. An imbalance can lead to so many problems like bloating, fatigue, poor immunity, constipation, gut issues that go with that, and even mental health challenges. It's so important more than ever in this stressful world of go, go, go. It's so important to take time to really invest and monitor what we take in our bodies.
Did I explain that relatively clearly, that the gut is like another brain? Yeah, I would say so. It because, your brain, your mindset affects the way you feel physically and overall. And so it's important, what you say to your brain. And so now with your gut, it's very important with what we feed our stomachs as well, our bodies as well. Just like we feed our brains with self-talk and experiences, we feed our stomach, our gut, which entails, takes care of the health of our body the same way, with proper nutrition. Being mindful about the nutritional values of the food we put in our bodies. How about some of the things that we could be or should be doing to better support gut health?
Well, in addition to the nutrition, sleeping well, trying to get proper sleep, exercise, taking time out for, again, we talk about, you're so right when it comes to, mind, body, the gut being a brain as well. That mindfulness, taking time out for things that help ground us, like meditation, yoga, grounding exercises, things that, relax and calm ourselves, bring us back to center. Obviously, when we're talking about nutrition, we're also looking at what do we avoid. We want to avoid, obviously, it's out there. We all know this, but, with time and stress and productivity and lifestyle, we have to be mindful of avoiding or minimizing refined sugars and processed foods, artificial sweeteners, excessive alcohol. All of these affect the microbe composition of our gut and the permeability. The permeability meaning the ability of the gut to absorb nutrients properly.
Let's talk about leaky gut syndrome. I've heard about that. I kind of have an idea, but not 100% sure, but certainly sounds relatively important.
Sure. Leaky gut is basically the inability of your body to absorb, your nutrients properly, the nutrients in the food. You experience the signs and symptoms, let's put it, of a leaky gut would be gas and bloating, low energy, feeling full, or, even having acid reflux, those sort of things, brain fog, all those things have to do with the way your body absorbs nutrition. And if we're not taking in the right foods or the best foods that give us proper nutrition, that are nutrient dense, then it's going to be more challenging, and our bodies are going to feel it.
Is the leaky gut situation, is that the lining of your stomach have some challenges with integrity, and the nutrients could be leaking out?
Can you rephrase that?
So leaky gut, as I understand it, it can also be that the lining is compromised in your stomach and you're not receiving the nutrition that you should be receiving.
Well, yeah. Basically, it's when we're taking in these foods that are not nutrient dense, like fatty foods, foods with sugar. What it does in turn is it helps eat away kind of at the lining of the intestines. And so what that does then is, your abdominal area, we've got all these different organs that filter, like the gallbladder, the liver, the kidneys, everything filters something. And even the intestines do it. It absorbs the nutrients. So when you are not mindful or are taking in these fatty and sugar dense foods, your intestines become permeable, like a sponge. So that barrier starts to break down. And so then toxins from your bloodstream and other physiological reactions from not having an adequate diet end up, creating these signs and symptoms, which are, due to leaky gut, the fatigue and all that. So when you start recognizing the fatigue and the brain fog and feeling bloated and just feeling exhausted, when you start to eliminate one by one or slowly or at the very least decrease your intake of these foods you should try to avoid, physiologically you start to make changes towards a healthy gut. And you will notice changes. Absolutely will.
A lot of us deal with anxiety, and that can fuel. I feel it almost works both ways, where you have anxiety, then it gets centered in the gut. Then that you start. I experienced this. I don't have major anxiety, but it was escalated when I was having some digestion issues, some stomach issues. I was diagnosed with an ulcer like 6-7 years ago. It's all good now. But it was a challenging time where it actually sent me to the hospital because I don't know what was going on. But that increased anxiety, not knowing what was going on in my stomach. What's going on there with an ulcer when you have situations like that?
That's stress. That's stress, which increases the acidity in the abdomen or in the stomach, and that acidity then starts to eat away at the stomach lining, causing an ulceration. But, with anxiety, that brain-gut connection, our brain can send signals, to our central nervous system, and so when you're anxious or nervous, your body releases, those signals cause your body to release hormones and chemicals, and those enter the digestive system, and so in turn, then that creates an imbalance in your microbiome of your gut. So, it's such, our bodies are fascinating when it comes to balance, or its ability to try to balance things out, and if we don't heed the warnings, if we ignore it, then we end up with all different conditions, whether it's, from a stress response, from having stress, and, then you get ulcers, and, like you said, it doesn't matter really what comes first, the anxiety or the gut issue. No pun intended, but it kind of feeds one off the other,
Yeah, but that's what I was referring to in the very beginning. There is that connection, the brain has, let's just say hypothetically anxiety. Then it centers in the gut. Something's up there. Then it goes back into back to the brain, and now it all escalates, and they're all fueling each other, and now you have some greater challenges. And I want to share that. A year ago, it started kicking up, and I know it was stress. 100%. I knew it right away. I was feeling myself going down that road of, could be another ulcer. After, tests, scoping, and all of that, wasn't an ulcer. It was gastritis and some other minor stuff. The game changer for me was I met a master herbalist.
Yeah.
And she gave me this concoction. I'll tell you, I was about to go to the hospital again 6 years later. It was like, this is not going away. What's going on here? A concoction of marshmallow root, cat's claw, and catnip. 3 days later, it's like nothing ever happened. Everything was great again. And some aloe vera juice with pulp. Mm-hmm. Game changer. It's what can you tell us about those kind of remedies?
Absolutely. Herbal remedies, they've been around thousands and thousands of years. Started in the, Chinese culture and moved towards Western herbalism. And they're fantastic. And what I like about herbalism is not only do they work, if you allow them to, they're individualized, just like any coaching program or anything. They're individualized. So, that herbalist took what you were going through, and probably took, I would hope, a thorough, clinical evaluation, and put these 3 or 4 herbs together, and it did exactly what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
I'm very strongly recommend herbal remedies.
Yeah.
Holistic approaches, natural remedies.
Yeah. Guess what? I was taking Nexium and all of that wasn't making a difference. But this did. Somebody told me that when you have issues with what acid issues, so it could be reflux and all of that, many of us think that it's the overproduction of acid in your stomach. But somebody told me, who's kind of connected to gut health, that, oh no, it's the opposite. You don't have enough in your stomach, and that's where some of the challenges come up. Have you ever heard anything like that?
I have, but I don't have enough to really comment on that. I haven't heard enough on it for that. But and it could be individual as well. For some people, there is an overproduction of acid in the gut, but that's also because of the foods they're eating. So I would say that there's no doubt that those sorts of issues with acid imbalance in the gut would be too little or too much. I think it's all an individual assessment, to find out where the issue's coming from, and you can narrow it down. Then, is it too much? Is it too little acid? I don't doubt it.
What else can you tell us? What should we be doing, to protect our gut, to make sure things are, working okay?
Oh, sure. Prebiotics and probiotics. Of course, everybody hears those words and they're like, "Oh yeah, prebiotics," and maybe have no idea what they're talking about.
I have no idea what you're talking about. All I know is, eat yogurt.
Right.
Okay. So, let's the difference between the two.
Yes, absolutely. Prebiotics are they're non-digestible fibers. They feed beneficial gut bacteria, and the probiotics are that live bacteria that gets fed by the prebiotics. It's like a symbiotic relationship. The prebiotics feed those probiotics, and the probiotics, in turn, then help balance that gut microbiome or that gut, arena, So we'll start with the probiotics because that's a word more well known. Prebiotics are kind of just there in the background.
Yep.
Literally too, but sources of the probiotics are yogurt, kefir, kimchi, sauerkraut, things that are more on the fermented side. They restore the microbial balance, support your immune system, reduce inflammation. Prebiotics, again, like I said, those are the non-digestible fibers, as far as we're concerned, that feed those probiotics to help balance that gut microbiome. And so sources for those are bananas, asparagus, oats, and chicory root. And again, the prebiotic benefits, they encourage a healthy biome through the growth of beneficial microbes. And with that, it improves your immunity, improves your digestion, can decrease your bloating and such. Other things you can do nutritionally for your gut health plan would be to slowly add more high-fiber foods into your diet, like lentils and chia seeds. Add more fermented foods, such as, like we said, the yogurt and the kimchi. You'd also want to make sure that you have healthy fat, ones that, that are, there's controversy on seed oils and all that, but some healthy fats come from avocados, ones that are actually in an edible form, not like a cooking oil. Healthy fats such as avocados and fish like salmon. And again, avoid or minimize alcohol in excess, sweeteners, aspartame, refined sugars. Those all alter the gut.
I think there's so much more going on than any of us realize. Even, get to the point of alcohol. Some people drink a little more than they should. Some have a glass of wine occasionally. Some have, maybe 4 drinks a week or whatever. What's going on with alcohol? More and more I hear, and hey, I love my craft beer, but more and more I hear is it's just not a good thing overall.
I think anything beyond moderation is not a good thing.
Sure.
There's alcohol can damage the lining, the cells of the lining of the intestine, and like I said, that increases your chances of experiencing a leaky gut. And so it doesn't allow your gut to, if you think about like a perfect environment, let's say a garden, when you have too much of, acid rain or too much of a fertilizer or not enough water or too much sun, things are going to die. Things are not going to, bloom as well. They're not going to, grow as well. So alcohol, again, it's something that increases inflammation and other immune responses. So I'm not going to say. I mean, I don't really drink alcohol, wine, beer, or otherwise. It's just I just don't prefer it.
Mm-hmm. Well, to your point, moderation, and you said the word that. Is kind of the baseline for all of us. Everything that we're talking about, inflammation.
Yes.
Inflammation. And much of what we eat causes inflammation. But we don't know that's actually happening, as we're consuming.
Well, I think another key thing to think about with that is, do we really not know it's actually happening, or are we not aware or educated on the signs and symptoms to look at, or are we also possibly just ignoring it? People go weeks, days, months, years even having a little acid reflux, a little stomach irritation, and they just say, it was what I ate.
Right.
And that's acceptable. Is it acceptable, though? And so we kind of just have these societal pauses or acceptances, instead of us saying, ooh, it's what I ate. Maybe I need to consider what I ate.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to look at what I ate and how it was cooked or how it was prepared or what exactly it was I ate. Maybe it was those 4 hot dogs I had at the barbecue yesterday.
I know what it was what I ate, because last night I hung out with my friend, my best friend, and we get together at this little pub that we've been going to for decades, since we were like in our low 20s. Little local place, fun place, and had a famous cheeseburger last night, which is like, literally $3. It's amazing, with the fries and the jalapeno poppers. And I got home and I'm like, yeah, that was a bad idea.
Sounds delicious, though, but...
yeah. Well, my gut was telling me, that's probably not a good idea. Real quick, the foods that we eat, many of us here, that our food chain is tainted, with pesticides and chemicals and everything. Organic, as we talk about nutrition here, is it the way to go? If you had the choice, and it's within your budget, always get organic.
There are some different views on that. One of the views, and I support it. Well, organic is technically grown without pesticides. So, yeah, that's ideal. Eat local first. Local will be freshest. And even with the pesticides, it's still freshest, because what you eat locally will tend to be what's in season. And that's really a strong consensus in the field of nutrition field, is that if you eat local, you're eating seasonally.
Yeah.
And when you eat seasonally, you're eating better.
100%. And final question, we're out of time here, but I want your view on this. I buy fruit, and many times it just goes bad. I don't get to finish the strawberries, and now they got the mold on them all the time. And now they last a little bit longer when it's organic. I've started buying frozen, and it's my understanding that it's fresher because it's frozen fast. It didn't have to make multiple trips to get to you, and it's always there ready to go. What are your thoughts?
I love frozen fruit. However, I don't like to defrost it and eat it like I would if I brought strawberries at the supermarket.
Yep.
They don't taste the same. They don't look the same. They don't feel the same. But I think frozen is a great option after fresh.
Gotcha. Okay.
What I do, real quick, is if I see that I'm not getting to my fruit quick enough, I throw it in a bag and throw it in the freezer. I leave a couple out, knowing that, like, if I have 20 strawberries and I think I'm only going to eat 3 or 4, I keep out, 3, 4, 5, and I put the rest in the freezer. And then I throw it into a smoothie or a protein shake later on.
I'm not smart enough to think that. I should be doing that, because I know, that those, call them fresh strawberries, are right at the point of, we got another day or two here. And flip side, what you just said, when they're frozen and you throw in a smoothie, and that's really where I eat my fruit. It gives you, that frozen feel, because it's already frozen. So you don't have to add ice or anything like that.
Right. And it's you're getting the nutrients you need, you're getting the fiber you need.
Yep.
And you're not throwing it out. And I will tell you, it took me a while to think of that myself, so I don't feel so bad.
All right. Feel better now. Coach Jay, how do we find you? Somebody wants to change your life, dealing with some gut challenges. How do they do that?
Sure. I can be reached on my business number at 352-410-2133. I can be reached on the Calendly app at calendly.com/Coach J and the number 2. I also have a Facebook page, Transformations with Jay.
Thank you for today. Thank you for all the insight, the information, and also validating a number of things. One of them, how important our gut health is. I don't think we realize that. Appreciate you being here and looking forward next time we get together.
Yes. Thank you, Steve. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.